Today we're starting a new series. This is Cohiba Bay. It's a fictional and scaled down version of the Tampa Bay area that I created. To make the scale work with Cities Skylines, I had to make it much smaller than the Bay Area in real life, but it's got everything we need to capture the right vibe. You've got a giant bay that diverges into two smaller bays, barrier islands with beaches, wetlands, rivers, lakes, and plenty of farmlands. This series will be different than my previous videos. Instead of spending hours detailing and perfecting every square inch of my build, I want to build on a much larger scale. That's not to say I won't get carried away and spend way too much time detailing every now and then, but I want to build at a larger scale, and I really want to watch the area transform from an uninhabited coastline to a major metropolitan area. I want to create a region naturally, starting small, spreading throughout different areas, and watching it grow into one interconnected region. Every area will serve its own purpose, but have a relationship with neighboring areas, like neighboring cities and suburbs in real life. So that leads us to here, a blank canvas. So where do we start? Start by dragging out some roads, of course. I began by creating a preliminary road layout, where our main downtown is going to sit. Nothing too crazy, just a nice simple grid so we could start zoning and collecting some tax revenue. Got our main road layout, powers connected up. Time to start zoning some residential and commercial. It's worth mentioning that what we end up with here is going to be very temporary. Eventually, this district is going to look like a proper downtown with office complexes, skyscrapers, and high-rise condos. But for now, we're laying the groundwork. As more of the bones of the region get laid out, we'll be able to start fine-tuning the way we want it to look and start to give the city its own heartbeat. Would you look at that? We're actually making money. I guess it's pretty easy when you haven't provided any basic services to your citizens, such as healthcare and education. I think I might be onto something here. But for real, it's good that we're in the green. In the meantime, I think we're ready to expand outward. I'm gonna start zoning out another town across Cohiba Bay. It's gonna be pretty bare bones starting off, but in the future, this little town will likely be the St. Petersburg to Tampa in real life. While the houses and businesses fill in, let's go check back in on our main city. The town's starting to come together, but I see that we're starting to accumulate some dead citizens that haven't been picked up yet. I think that's our sign to start putting in some basic services. Let's start by placing a small medical clinic to help prevent people from dying. Next, we'll place a small cemetery. I'm going to be using a custom cemetery from Lellman's Graveyard Pack. It costs less than the normal cemetery, and it's also a pretty good looking asset. I recommend checking out the Graveyard Pack on Paradox Mods if you're looking for a cemetery with a smaller footprint. After providing some basic services, we immediately started losing money. While adding healthcare has put us in the red, I do know one way an American city can make some money, by creating some good old-fashioned blue-collar jobs. counteract these new healthcare costs, I'm creating a small industrial zone on this peninsula. In the future, I could see this being the area for our cargo harbor, so it makes sense to start a footprint here. Our industrial buildings have finally grown, and man, that looks pretty terrible to be honest. I'm just going to need to ignore how bad this area looks, even though it pains me to look at it. The important thing is we created some jobs, and Cohiba Bay is finally manufacturing things that can be used in town or exported. Yeah, I went back and spent a few minutes detailing it up. I just couldn't leave the area looking like that since it'll probably remain relatively unchanged for a couple episodes. Next, let's jump into the countryside and set up some farm areas so we can produce things like grains, vegetables, and meat. After establishing our farming industry, we're back in the green again. Jumping into our production statistics, it's looking like we have a nice surplus of a few resources, including grain, meat, vegetables, and stone as well. This surplus will help to supply the local economy with important raw materials that could be used for manufacturing by our factories or sold directly by our local businesses. Any remaining resources can then be exported to neighboring cities and regions. Now that we're collecting a little bit more money, we're just about ready to add some more services to the city. But before doing so, let's bump up the taxes for our residential and industrial sectors. You get what you pay for, and these new services aren't going to pay for themselves. We're starting our service expansion by placing a fire station. I decided to use the vanilla firehouse since the cost is similar to other smaller firehouses, and it has that classic American look that I think will pair well with our downtown area. The next stage of our service expansion will include placing a small police station for the city of Cohiba. Oh yeah, I decided to name this city Cohiba. Real original, right? We will need a name for our city across the bay though, so feel free to leave any suggestions you have in the comments section. It's going to be based on St. Petersburg, so any name with the word Saint or Berg is probably a plus. Shortly after placing the Cohiba Police Department, we went back into the red, but we did reach the Grand Village milestone. This milestone gives us the ability to zone offices, another source of income for the city. I'm going to zone a few smaller office buildings, but we'll need to be careful early on since offices require educated workers and we haven't quite gotten to providing education yet. We've made some decent progress this episode. Our population is a little over 1,600. We provided basic services, and our industry is helping to prop up our local economy. Before wrapping up the episode, though, let's spend a little time detailing and filling in some of those empty spaces. amazing what some well-placed foliage can do for the appearance of a town. Well, that's just about do it for episode 1. In the next episode, we'll be continuing our expansion, adding some much needed education for the citizens of Cohiba Bay. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. Until next time, catch you later.